What is your favorite paradox? Actually, there are two kinds of people in this world. Those who believe there are two kinds of people in this world and those who are smart enough to know better. Tom Robbins. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. Every time you gain a greater understanding about something, it creates even more questions than it answers. The surprise hanging. A prisoner was sentenced to death by hanging, but as an additional punishment he was told he'd be hung sometime in the next week, but he'd not be told until the morning of. He reasons that it can't be Friday, because that's the last possible day, and so it wouldn't be a surprise, which means it also can't be Thursday, because it can't be Friday, and so if he's alive by Thursday then he needs to hang that day. Apply same reasoning to the other days of the week. He died Wednesday, caught by surprise. Statistical paradoxes are cool. For example, Simpson's paradox, where a statistical trend is reversed when the population is partitioned into groups. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was supported by 61% of Democrats and 80% of Republicans. However, both Southern and Northern Democrats were more likely to support the act than their Republican colleagues. White murderers in Florida are more likely to receive the death penalty than African Americans. However, African Americans whose victims were white are more likely to be executed than whites, as are African Americans whose victims were black. Median wages in the U.S. rose by 1% between 2000 and 2013, yet wages of every educational subgroup, school dropouts, school graduates, college graduates and higher degrees, fell during the same period. The overall survival rates for third-class passengers on the Titanic were higher than those for the crew, yet those for both men and women were lower. The batting averages of baseball player David Justice were higher than those of Derek Jeter in both 1995 and 1996, but not in the 2 years combined. Sorites paradox. When exactly does heap of a million grains of sand turn into a non-heap, when you take away grains of sand one at a time? If time travel was invented in the future we would have it now. Ocarina of Time bootstrap paradox. As a child you meet a happy man in a windmill. Time travel, so you are an adult, you meet the same man who is angered by a child who played a song that summoned a storm that caused the windmill to drain a nearby well. He teaches you the song. Travel back in time and you play the song at the windmill, causing the above events. Where did the song come from? Where did the cycle begin? Pilots can get out of combat duty if they are psychologically unfit, but anyone who tries to get out of combat duty proves he is sane. I've heard of one where some idiot went back in the past and accidentally got his grandpa killed. He eventually had to do the nasty in the past with his grandma to save his own life. The paradox of being a parent. The days and nights are long and hard, yet the years fly by. Pinocchio's nose paradox. If Pinocchio says the phrase, "My nose will grow," it creates a paradox. This is because if it grows, then he's telling the truth, but since it only grows when he's lying, it shouldn't grow. But if it doesn't grow, then he lied, so it should grow, which means he's telling the truth. But if. Edit. Lots of people have pointed out that this may not be a paradox. I should say I made a slight mistake and it works better when he says, "My nose will grow now." So he's talking about the immediate present and not a future time, which breaks the paradox. I had to Google that and I found it's representative of the liar paradox. Like if you were to say, "I am lying." If you're lying then, you told the truth, which means you just lied. That being said, I'm sure there's still arguments against this, but it's still fun to try and wrap your head around if you're not getting too technical. If you make a New Year's resolution not to keep any New Year's resolutions, would you keep it? When I was in art class we had an assignment to paint a paradox or oxymoron. I didn't paint anything, handed in a blank canvas titled, "Completed Assignment," and got an A. I don't like that place. No one goes there anymore because it's always too crowded. The poison well paradox. A town is worried that their well is poisoned by chemical X, so they hire 3 scientists to test it. They ask each scientist 2 questions. Is chemical X above level Y in our water? And, if chemical X is above level Y, should we stop using our water supply? The answers were as follows. Scientist 1 answered yes to both questions. Scientist 2 answered yes to the first and no to the second. Scientist 3 answered no to the first and yes to the second. The paradox. If you take each scientist's final conclusion, you'll have a majority of scientists saying that you don't need to close the well. But if you combine all the scientists' responses to individual questions, you'll have a majority of responses telling you to close the well. The Maya paradox. Asterisk our illusions are not real, yet it's real that illusion itself exists. Asterisk. My favorite is this. If you randomly guess at this multiple choice question, what are the odds you get it right? Out 25% B, 50% C, 25% D, 0% greater than. The solution is there is no right answer. We can prove this by condition. Less than greater than. Case 1. The right answer is 25%. Well, then you have a 50% chance of choosing 25, so then the right answer is not 25. Less than greater than. Case 2. The right answer is 50%. Well, then you have a 25% chance of choosing 50, so that can't be right. Less than greater than. Case 3. The right answer is 0%. Well, then you have a 25% chance of choosing that, so that's not right. Less than greater than. So there is no right answer. Even though it feels like there should be. Less than. The Pogo paradox. Where an event is caused by the very attempts to prevent it. Edit. I'm not sure if this is an official name. I heard it on Star Trek, Voyager. Edit 2. No, this is not the Streisand effect. That defines a situation where people want to suppress knowledge about some information, but that effort causes the information to become more widespread. This is not a paradox. Edit 3. Yes, just like that, so Raven, as 300 replies have already pointed out. Edit 4, and Harry Potter, and Star Wars, etc. Edit 5. Okay, y'all can stop recommending Dark on Netflix. Edit 6. Enough about the damn monkey on Umbrella Academy. When Marty goes back and meets his mom in Back to the Future, she gets to know him as Calvin Marty Klein. If we assume she named her son Marty because of this interaction, how could he have originally been named Marty? You need job experience to get a job, but to have the experience you must get a job. Take me down to Paradox City where the grass is green and non-existent. If you have your grandfather's axe, replace the handle a year later, then replace the blade. Is it still your grandfather's axe? No one votes third party because no one votes third party. Coming into this thread to write my favorite paradox and finding additional paradoxes I hadn't heard, thus my original favorite paradox is no longer my favorite paradox. The word indescribable was created so that nothing can be truly indescribable. Think about that one for a moment. The vending machine paradox from Gravity Falls. Dipper and Mabel are getting some snacks from the vending machine, when the snack gets stuck. Seuss shows them a trick on how to open it. They all get candy. Later that episode, they travel back in time and teach a kid whose snack got stuck the trick they learned. That kid turned out to be Seuss, which leaves us with the question, who invented the vending machine trick? Go back in time to kill baby Hitler to stop WW2 stop WW2 to no WW2 no WW2 to no need to go back in time don't go back in time to no one kills Hitler to WW2 happens WW2 happens to want to stop WW2 want to stop WW2 to go back in time repeat cycle edit, spacing. Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Corollary, Murphy's Law will go wrong. The Titanic sunk because of the weight of all the time travelers who came back to stop the Titanic from sinking. Buridan's Bridge. Due to the fact there is an obvious answer for those unfamiliar, it goes as such. Socrates wants to cross a river and comes to a bridge guarded by Plato. The two speak as follows, Plato, Socrates, if in the first proposition which you utter, you speak the truth, I will permit you to cross. But surely, if you speak falsely, I shall throw you into the water. Socrates, you will throw me into the water. And #X200b, Assuming it's a bridge near water and not that high, I would throw him into the water, fish him out, then let him pass. He'd be shivering on the way and I would say as he passes, asterisk asterisk that's what you get for being a smartass asterisk asterisk. Edit. My first silver, bear hugs, and rocket like, thank you kind strangers. Edit 2. As pointed out by many people, this is like the Pinocchio paradox of Pinocchio saying, my nose will grow. I also have an answer to that one to avoid the universe from ending from a paradoxical explosion. The nose grows then shrinks, even his body wants to spite smart asses. Edit 3. OMG, I got my first platinum, an excited award, another bear hug, and people WHO talk about Deltora Quest in the thread, one of my favorite fantasy series. Thank you very much kind strangers.